Welcome to the Jerry and Jerry Show, guys. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us on a Tuesday morning in downtown Charlottesville. We are less than 2 miles from Scott Stadium, less than 2 miles from the John Paul Jones Arena. And folks, it is a blustery, chilly Tuesday in CVille. A lot we're going to cover on this program, including a Tony Elliott-led Virginia football team that is now ranked in the top 15 nationally for the first time since 2004. Tony Elliott and the boys in orange and blue are on a roll. This time, the Cavaliers, in cardiac fashion, steal a victory against Bill Belichick and the North Carolina Tar Heels in Chapel Hill. A game of inches, a cliche, was reality this past weekend. 2 to 3 inches determined an outcome for a football team that is on a significant rise up the national polls. We'll talk Virginia. We'll talk Chandler Morris. I'm going to ask Hootie Ratcliffe, how healthy is Virginia's gunslinger? We'll talk Cam Robinson, a linebacker that is climbing NFL draft boards and certainly appears to be Virginia's best player. So much to cover on today's broadcast, including a looming ACC matchup against the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech. The Yellow Jackets, ladies and gentlemen, have a matchup against NC State where they are favorites. Virginia travels cross-country to Cal, where they are also favorites. All these stories and more, including what we learned from 2 Virginia basketball exhibition matches or games. The season now on the very near horizon. Judah Wickower behind the camera. This gentleman is the Elmer's glue of our football and basketball team. His statistical production may not show up on air, but behind the scenes, the backbone of the roster. The star of our show is a guy who needs no introduction. He's a household name from West Coast to East Coast, from Naples, Florida to Anchorage, Alaska. If you know ACC sports, you know Jerry Ratcliffe. Judah Wickower, studio camera, 2-shot. Hootie Ratcliffe, my friend, so much to cover on the broadcast. How are you today?
I'm good. A little chilly.
So chilly. I threw the Anchorage, Alaska mention in there for you, Hootie Ratcliffe. I know the cold is not your favorite, Hootie.
No, and that's definitely the coldest I've ever been in my life in Anchorage in 1990. But, yeah, I'm not a fan of cold weather. I used to be, but not anymore.
My friend, a stolen victory, some would say, others call it finding a way to win. It's that glass is half full versus glass is half empty perspective. Regardless, Virginia gets a win in Chapel Hill.
I've always been told that good teams find a way to win, and I think that fits the bill in this case. And Virginia has, in years past, we've seen them find ways to lose because they didn't know how to win, and they had faults. Not that this team doesn't have any faults, but I think their combined experience is showing through. They have players who've been there and done that, who are making big plays in the clutch. And they have guys who have been to the upper echelon of college football, played in college football playoffs, and have been part of winning and have shared some of those experiences and confidence and what it takes to win close games, and I think it's all accumulating in a pretty nice way for the Wahoos now.
Amen, brother. Amen. They got Cal on the horizon. We'll break down a cross-country trip to the Cal Golden Bears, who are not a team to be taken lightly. They're 5-3 overall, 2-2 in conference play. Frankly speaking, they should have beat Virginia Tech this past Friday on national television. UVA 7-1 overall, 4-0 in conference play. It's a nationally televised broadcasted game, 3:45 on ESPN2. What did you see against first the North Carolina Tar Heels?
Well, I thought again they found a way to hang in there. Neither team scored in the second half, and both offenses were kind of bogged down. It was more of a defensive game in that respect. And in overtime, they did what they had to do. They scored a touchdown, got the ball first, which is not what you want. You want to have it second, but they drove the 25 yards, and Chandler Morris dove for the first down with a 7-yard run and got to the 3-yard line. They called a timeout. Taylor gained a yard on the next play, and then they went with a direct snap to Taylor, which has become almost as reliable as the tush push that they were employed the year before. But they took the lead, and then Brevard came up with another game-ending big play, stopping Carolina within inches of the goal line, and on their 2-point conversion, which I was kind of surprised.
Shocked.
Belichick did that.
Me too.
I think you kick the extra point and you take it to the next overtime and try to win it. But
You're at home and your defense is playing lights out. It was a gamble to go for two. I was shocked. Now, if Bill Belichick gets the 2-point conversion, we're sitting here calling him a genius.
well, yeah, that's always the case
Yeah.
with the 2-point gamble. Doing it when you don't have to do it. If you make it, which it doesn't seem like a lot of people do when it counts to win a game when it's not forced. You look like a genius or a goat, depending on the outcome.
Comments coming in already for Hootie Ratcliffe. We're going to get to those comments here in a matter of moments. Clear-cut comment all over the feed is Chandler Morrison. What's going on with the gunslinger? Is he healthy? Why not the same statistical performance we saw in the first handful of games to start the year? Everyone's asking the question from layman to expert.
I think there's a few factors there. No, he's not healthy. That shoulder he hurt in the opening game of the season against Coastal Carolina is still bothering him, and he keeps getting it aggravated. I think it wasn't. I don't think it was. He was doing well with it prior to the interception, and he tried to make a tackle, and I think he landed on that shoulder out of bounds, trying to make the tackle on the pickoff. But it hasn't affected his throwing. It just it's a matter of pain tolerance, and he's a tough cookie, and that's not going to keep him from playing football. And I don't think it's affecting his passing numbers that much. I think they don't want to run him any more than they need to, and sometimes it's his call. But he's not going to back away from what he needs to do. I think what's affecting his numbers more than that is that we're now, we're 8 games into the season.
The film's out.
Film is out. These people, particularly somebody like Belichick, who's a defensive genius, they find ways to take away your strengths. They come up with defensive strategies to take things away. And they, like Washington State, took away the outside runs for Virginia and made them run between the tackles. You certainly don't want to run Morris between the tackles. He's just not a big guy. And so that took away some of that. It took away some of the throws that they like to make, and it forced Virginia to be a little less flashy in terms of the big chunk plays that they've been able to get, and they're backing guys up. They're playing a lot of man coverage, which means the throws have to be more precise. The routes have to be more precise. The windows are smaller. Pass rushes are coming harder. So that's what you can expect the rest of the season, because and Virginia's doing it to other teams too. They're finding ways to take your strengths away, and that's what it's all about.
Comments, put them in the feed. We'll relay them live on air. If you're watching on Twitter on our live broadcast, put your comments in the Twitter feed or the Twitter chain, and I'll get those live on air. We got folks in Northern Virginia, Southwestern Virginia, Richmond, Crozet, Ivy, Charlottesville, Orange County, Williamsburg, Newport News, watching the broadcast, and that's just the Commonwealth right now. North Carolina, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Tennessee viewers and listeners on the show. Your comments are welcome on the program. I have a few before I get to yours. Chandler Morris, to to protect Chandler Morris when he's at his best is when Virginia establishes the run, when they create running lanes for what is a very dynamic, tailback entourage. The offensive line's got to protect the quarterback, and then he's able to play action. Then he's able to show some quickness and athleticism outside the pocket. I agree that the film is out there. I also am a little concerned, maybe concerned's not the right word, that the running back play or the running game has not had the same impact as it once did. What do you attribute that to, Hootie?
Well, again, that's Virginia was so successful with that. They were one of the top rushing teams in the country for the first several weeks. And again, people are crowding the box and playing more man coverage and trying to take that away from Virginia. And it's sometimes there's more people in the tackle box than you can block, and it's just a matter of trying to take advantage of what the defense is giving you, and they're not giving a whole lot right now. So I think we're going to see a change with that this weekend. Virginia Tech rushed 57 times against Cal for 327 yards, 6.8 yards per carry. So I think we're going to see Virginia return heavily to the running game this weekend at Cal and try to get that straightened out for the final few games of the season.
I watched that Friday night football game, Cal, Blacksburg. Virginia Tech ran the same play in the second half, and Cal could not stop the Hokies. It was the same play over and over and over again. And I don't want to underestimate the Cal Golden Bears. They got some talent on that team. The quarterback is clearly limited with what he can do throwing the football. They got ripped apart with Virginia Tech's running game. And it seems to me, as you've indicated, here's a chance for Virginia to reestablish its run-first identity, its time of possession control identity, its protection of Chandler Morris, and just out-muscle, out-flex, out-work Cal and this cross-country trip. Vegas has the Wahoos right now as a slim favorites, 4.5. You get 3 for playing at home, so it's a little larger than that. We'll talk about that matchup against Cal, but a couple of other items I want to get to from the UNC contest. What did you make of star linebacker Cam Robinson's output?
Yeah, he's all over the place. I mean, he's just such a complete defensive player. I mean, he can do it all. I wrote a little story about him this week, and I mean, he can rush the passer. He's a great tackler. He can cover people. He can play sideline to sideline. He's so mobile. He's smart. He's just the complete linebacker, and I know that Tony Elliott is excited that he's. We thought this third year would be his best year, and it certainly is turning out to be. And he played hurt so badly last year that most people would have shut their season down there, and he just continued to play, and he's healthy again, as healthy as anybody can be at this time of the year, and he's a difference maker. I mean, he's just like that play against Washington State at the end. When they got the safety, he was begging Rudzinski to let him blitz, and Rudzinski said, and he was laughing about it. He said, I could tell he was going to blitz whether I let him blitz or not. So I said, what the hell, let him blitz, and he did, and he nailed the guy.
Jeremy Wilson watching in Eastern Tennessee. My high school football coach always said, football is a game of pain. Deal with the pain, boys. Jeremy Wilson, we appreciate you watching the program. I'll tell you what, at this time of year, everyone's dealing with something, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Renee Pettiford, watching the program, she highlights the fact that you and I are dressed very similarly right now. She wants us to talk Ryan Odom on the show. and we'll get to those comments and the exhibition matchups. Renee, in a matter of moments, we know how much you love basketball. We are huge basketball fans on the Jerry and Jerry Show as well. We're going to get to the comments on the multi-million anonymous donation, yet another one. People are asking Hootie Ratcliffe to be a Sherlock Holmes, to guess or let us know who offered that multi-million-dollar donation. We can say it was not yours truly, nor was it Hootie, nor was it Judah Wickhauer. That's about what we know on that anonymous donation. I don't want to speak for you, Hootie.
No, I think you got that one right.
Okay, so that's the extent of what we know. It's now the three of us here. We're going to get to the Cal game, the Georgia Tech-NC State matchup as well. How about the mood following the UNC game, Hootie Ratcliffe, for Virginia football?
Well, Renee is definitely fashion conscious.
Yeah, and we love Renee.
Yeah,
we love Renee.
Yeah, we do. And Jeremy was right about his high school coach, and I think we've all of us who played football have heard that refrain many times. It's about being able to handle pain and that sort of thing. It's a physical game, and don't ever be fooled that it's not. People say it's like getting in a bar fight every week, which is pretty much true. The mood, I think the mood of the team is very positive. I think they're confident. The fact that they do find ways to win. They believe that they can play with anybody, and they've got so much momentum going. And even though they've had so many close brushes, their confidence seems to grow with each game that they win. And it's been a while since there's been a Virginia team with this kind of confidence. You got to go back to 2019 with Bryce at quarterback, and a lot of that confidence was because of him, and some people had so much confidence that he was going to find a way to win the game. This time, the talent's a little bit more spread out, but I think the mood is excellent right now. And a friend of mine, Joe Bach, goes to practice a couple of times a week, and he says that the spirit and energy is off the scale over there. And if it's not, Tony Elliott wakes him up and re-energizes him with a few choice words. But I think the fans should be pretty happy that the team's has an incredible attitude right now.
Comments continue to come in. I want to highlight Jim Carini watching the program. He's a UConn alum, a UVA and UConn fan, lives in Williamsburg. He may not know this. This is crazy small world, Jim Carini. I went to school, lower school, elementary school, middle school, high school, and college with your daughter, Laura. She's a fantastic attorney. I haven't seen Jim Carini in 25 years, and he's randomly watching the program right now.
I think he might be one of my Twitter followers.
He is one of your Twitter followers.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is.
This is the small world nature of social media. Literally have not seen this man in probably 25 or 30 years, and he's watching the program right now.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. Comments continue to come in here. Jerry, can you ask Hootie his thoughts on the offensive play of late? Doesn't seem to be the same protection as we saw in the early parts of the season.
Yeah, well, that was I had some rare breakdowns the other day, and Brady Wilson was coming off of an injury and inactive for a few weeks, I think it just takes time to get back to playing, get into your playing form that you were earlier. They gave up 6 sacks, and they had only given up 5 sacks all season. Heading into that game, and I'm sure that Belichick and his son designed some special twists and stuff to try to confuse the blocking schemes, but and they were very aggressive. And Carolina on defense is a little better than their offense has not been good this year. They've struggled putting points on the board, but their defense at times, even though they've been on the field for a long, long time in most games, their defense plays pretty well, and they have some talent on that side of the footballs. But I don't think it's anything major to be concerned about going forward. I think they'll make some corrections and stuff in this practice this week before they head out to Berkeley, and I don't see that being a problem going forward.
This is something that maybe the media makes more of, or the fan base, than it actually is. Maybe it actually is something. Going cross country for college athletes, for professional athletes. Do you put a lot of stock into this cross country trip, this time zone change, having an impact on college and professional athletes?
I think there is something to it, and I think some of it though is when the game time is. I know some of the East Coast teams have suffered going west because the game may not start until like 10 o'clock Pacific time, 9 or 10 o'clock Pacific time, which is midnight or later on your body clocks, and it's kind of hard to perform when you're used to going to sleep. But and the same thing can happen when those teams come east, and if it's a noon start here, those teams are, they're playing at 9 o'clock in their morning in their body clock. So there's some cat and mouse there. I think this week's game is the timing shouldn't be that much of a problem. But I think that, and then if you're going to somewhere like Denver and some of those places, the altitude and the oxygen thing is a real problem. But I think if the game time is somewhat in your normal body clock time, I don't think it's as big a test as if it's an extreme game time.
I appreciate that. I see that comment all over the feed here. Let's get to the Cal matchup. The Cavaliers favored in this contest, and you expect Virginia to potentially be favored from here on out. Maybe that Duke matchup, because it's in Durham, is going to be a pick'em or a slight Blue Devil, favored to win by Vegas. In this particular contest, Virginia, ladies and gentlemen, is a 4.5-point favorite. UVA 7-1. They're 4-0 in conference play. Cal's 5-3, 2-2 in conference play. Before we dig into this matchup, early thoughts on Cal, what you saw against Virginia Tech, what you saw from Cal this particular season.
Yeah, well, they have a quarterback. I struggle with his name. I think it's, let me look at it closely again. Sega Palutelli, I think. He's a freshman. I think he was 18 years old when the season started, but he's definitely a throwing quarterback. He threw for 39 passes against Tech, I think, for nearly 300 yards, no interceptions. And when he's on, he can be dangerous. I don't think they have much of a running attack, and so they have to ride his arm to be successful. And I think he's susceptible to being sacked as well. So it's all about trying to control the Bears' passing game, and Virginia's secondary will be tested for sure.
Virginia, this rest of the season schedule is favorable. When's the last time we have seen Virginia? Is it 2019, where excitement and interest has been at this level for the fan base?
It has to go back to 19, and even then it wasn't what we thought it would be, because they played some games with a stadium that certainly wasn't close to being full. Now they have finally done some things to try to enhance that. The last two home crowds have been pretty darn good, over 50,000, we're told, and they're giving some tickets out in the community. I think through the schools, maybe.
Yep, they're giving a boatload of tickets out through Albemarle County Public Schools.
So I think that's a great move, and and it's made a difference. Tony Elliott talks about it. The players talk about it. That they hear the crowds. It energizes them. It gets them fired up, and it intimidates the other team. I mean, look at all the illegal procedure calls at Washington State and was it Florida? I guess Florida State had in those close games, and so that can make a difference. It really can, and you see it in stadiums across the country all the time. So I think this is the most excitement since '19 for sure. And then you got to go way back to the early Al Groh era, back when they were drawing in the 50s and even set the stadium record with over 60,000 people for that Southern Cal game before you find that kind of excitement around the program.
I was at that Southern Cal game in person. I remember it well, although the outcome on the field was something that could have been potentially forgotten. The excitement was tangible. Cliff Daisy's watching on the Eastern Shore. He was listening to the North Carolina game on XM as he was driving. He's concerned about the quarterback play. He says the backup should be ready. On YouTube, ShiftGod137 says, if we beat Cal, is there a chance for game day in Charlottesville against Wake Forest?
Well, I've heard some chatter about it. It probably depends on who else is playing around the country that day. And from what I've heard, there's not a whole lot of big games scheduled that same weekend. So I think it's a possibility. The fact that it's never been here before, and it's one of the very few schools in the country that hasn't hosted a football game day, might give them a better chance, because they might just say, hey, what the heck,
that'd be awesome.
Let's take advantage of this scenario. And that would be great for the town, great for the community, the spirit of the university and the fans. To have an event like that, it generates a lot of excitement, and I'm sure it won't hurt the businesses around town either, getting a lot of people in town early in the day. But that would be fun. It would be kind of fun to have that happen here in Charlottesville.
If you want game day in Charlottesville, you're pulling for Wake Forest on Saturday night against Florida State, the Demon Deacons in Tallahassee. Florida State is a 8.5 point favorite. Florida State is not our daddies or granddaddies Florida State football team. They are 0-4 in conference play. 3-4 overall for Florida State. They're dead last in the ACC, the Seminoles. Mike Norvell looks like he's out in Florida State, but that change won't happen until the end of the year. Wake Forest, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pretty good football team. 5-2 overall, 2-2 in conference play. Still the Seminoles, a pretty significant favorite. Let's get to the Georgia Tech-NC State matchup. This game is intriguing because it looks like a collision course for UVA and the Yellow Jackets. The 8th ranked team in the nation, Georgia Tech. They're 8-0 overall, 5-0 in conference play. Travel to Raleigh to face the Wolfpack, a 7:30 kickoff on ESPN2. The game immediately following UVA's ESPN2 matchup against Cal is Georgia Tech and NC State. What do you make Georgia Tech and NC State, Hootie?
Well, NC State's been reeling a little bit lately, and I know the heat's been turned up a little bit down in Raleigh, so it hasn't been the season that their fans had expected. And Georgia Tech's rolling. It's a good football team. We keep hearing Brent Key, their head coach, his name popping up with some of these other vacancies that are opening up around the country. I think there's a dozen jobs now open, and there's going to be a lot more before we're done. But
Brian Kelly, the latest?
Brian Kelly, the latest, another insane buyout.
It's a $54 million?
Yeah.
Insane.
And
they didn't even blink.
No.
Insane.
I think I saw something the other day that of the dozen or so coaches that have been bought out this year, it's like for a grand total of $140 million, which is a record. And we're not done yet.
We're not done yet.
Yeah, Brent Key's done a hell of a job turning that program around. He's a Georgia Tech guy. He played there, has a lot of pride in that school. He was on Nick Saban's staff at Alabama, so he knows how to win. And I don't see Georgia Tech blowing this game at all. I think they're going to go in and win that game against the Wolfpack.
Comments continue to come in. This from New Kent, I believe it's New Kent. Is it New Kent County, Virginia? Rob Gray. Mm-hmm. He says game day has not worked out in Virginia's favor when it's come to basketball. I am skeptical of having game day here in Charlottesville with football. I appreciate his comments. To Hootie's point, having game day in Charlottesville would take the excitement to a completely different level. And as a guy who's a small business owner, and Hootie Ratcliffe's a small business owner as well, any kind of positivity at this time for business owners is a good thing.
And part of the reason the game day hasn't been successful here in basketball is usually because they're playing Duke.
Right.
And not many people have successful game days against Duke, no matter where it is.
This comment has come in. Is there, and this one's from South Carolina, Jerry and Jerry, is there a team outside of Georgia Tech that Virginia fans should worry about that could keep the Hoos from playing in the ACC championship?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look around the landscape, there's a lot of one-loss teams in the conference, and
the Pitt Panthers are 4-1, Louisville's 3-1, SMU's 3-1, Duke's 3-1. Virginia still has to play 3-1 Duke.
Yeah. Miami.
Yep.
I don't know if we mentioned them or not, but yeah. I mean, anything can happen, and people say they remember November, and that's the month where teams really separate themselves from being pretenders to contenders. And it's the ACC, and we've seen a lot of unpredictability this season as we have in years past. It's just better football this year, and those are good football teams. So a lot of things can happen over the last month of the season. And we've seen so many close games in this conference, one-score games. Virginia's been very good in one-score games. But, you know, a lot of these teams are capable of jumping up and biting you. Everybody left on the schedule is a potential win and a potential loss. So you can't take any of those for granted. I know that's a bit cliche, but it's proven out to be a fact in this league because there's so much parity. And one of the ways Virginia has separated itself a little bit from the parity is through the NIL, and it's made a difference. But yeah, I mean, any of those teams, they're still in contention, and you know, one slip up, and you're right in the bunch with them with a league loss. So you can't take any of these games for granted.
Interesting comment here. If Virginia makes the ACC championship but does not win the game, does the CFP consider two from the Atlantic Coast Conference? One shot, Hootie, on that one.
I've been told no. Everything I've seen that's not going to happen because the SEC has politicked hard in the offseason for strength of schedule matters more than the number of wins and losses you have. So I would be very leery of that if I were a fan, an ACC fan, because the conference champion will make it, but I'm not sure that there'll be another ACC team in there. It just depends on what else happens around the country.
I totally agree with you. I do not see two from the ACC. Sidney Riggs watching the program here. What is the we'll get to basketball. Comments continue to come in on the exhibitions. I promise you we're going to get to Ryan Odom and basketball. Keys to victory for Virginia football against Cal.
I think they got to get the running game going again, and I think they will. But that's something that not just for this game, but for the duration of this rest of the remainder of the season, because they can't become one-dimensional and continue to win all these games, because there's going to be some close games in there. Trust me on this, and they've got to find a way to run the football, no matter what defenses people throw at them. They've still got to find a way to run the ball. And when your quarterback, who is a difference maker with his feet, isn't 100%, and they boxed it in and taken away the outside run a little bit, that impacts what you're doing and your play calling. So, but I think that's going to be the key is Virginia running the football again and not making any big mistakes. And the secondary is going to have to be tight because Cal's going to throw the heck out of it.
This is an interesting comment that's coming in, and more comments coming in at basketball. Man, this is a basketball base here. Virginia football, if they make it to the ACC championship and they beat their opponent, where does this team stack up in Virginia football history?
Wow. Pretty darn high, I would think, because nobody's ever done that before. They've only played in the championship game once, and we were embarrassed because Clemson was at their height of efficiency back then. But, yeah, it would be hard to argue that it would be the best team in Virginia history if they make the college football playoffs, because none of these other teams had the opportunity to really do that. But it would certainly be amongst the best ever, along with that 89 team and 90 and 95 team and 98, and maybe some of the teams back in the 40s under Art Gepp and Frank Murray and those guys. And then going back to the before World War I, Virginia was one of the most dominant football programs in the South. But certainly in modern day football, it would be special for sure if they could find a way to win the ACC championship game.
Virginia superfan Sam watching the program right now.
I know him, yeah.
Yep, he's watching the program. He says, "Go Hoos! Nothing but the best for you, Sam. Nothing but the best for health. Can't wait.
Met him at a tailgate.
We can't wait to see you back at Scott Stadium on the Jumbotron at tailgates, supporting and loving this Virginia football team." 3 minutes left at 10:57. He's heading to the Tony Elliott press conference today, which is at 11:30.
Yes.
So we're going to be mindful of his time. Basketball and 2 exhibitions. What did you learn from Ryan Odom's team?
It's been interesting watching these guys. It's a lot of what I expected. They're gonna they made us some strides between the Vanderbilt exhibition and the Villanova in terms of their defense down low in the block. It's been better. Their inside defense, it's going to get better and better as we go. And their pressing defense, they made some improvements in a week, and that'll get better and better. That's going to take a little bit longer time, I think. And then, yeah, their early season schedule is against some teams that mostly they're going to probably clobber.
Annihilate.
Yeah. So I don't know that we'll be able to tell a lot there, but he's going to play a lot of people, which we thought. He had, 9 or 10 guys that scored the other night, maybe 11. I can't even remember, but everybody that played scored, I think. And it's going to be a team where there's a lot of guys are going to have the capability night in and night out to be amongst the top scorers. Malik Thomas seems to be the go-to guy, and we thought he would be after being one of the best players in the West Coast Conference last year at San Francisco, where he averaged about 20 points a game and was maybe the league MVP, even though he didn't get the honor, but he should have. I think this is going to be a fun team to watch, and I think he was excited that these guys were not in secret scrimmages where nobody could see what was going on, but they were out there in front of fans and before the lights, and were able to feel the energy and the pressure of having people watch you play a real game, even though it was just an exhibition.
Grunlow looks like he's got massive upside. Looks incredibly talented.
Yeah. Very emotional kid too. When he scores, he's got that fire in his belly.
Extremely intelligent. Watched the post-game interview
yeah.
with Grunlow. I was impressed with him. DeRitter's got upside. Maybe not the most athletic. He's a bruiser. I
saw one projection this week of he's supposed to be one of the top freshmen in the ACC.
I saw a similar one.
Yeah.
Hugo looks like he could finish around the rim. And how about that set shot 3-pointer from a 7-foot center?
His first 3-pointer.
Absolutely shocking to me. I'd like to see the point guard play. I'm curious about the point guard play. I know it's early in the season. Dalen Hall's got a lot of responsibility on his shoulders in this up-tempo offense, this get up and go. I thought they would play a little bit faster than they did. Granted, it's only an exhibition game, so we can't look too much into it. Still, I'm excited for Virginia basketball. Closing thoughts at the 11 o'clock marker, Hoodie Ratcliffe.
Yeah, and Chance Mallory was been impressive too. He's for a freshman. He doesn't play like a freshman, and we didn't think he would. Closing thoughts are: I think this is going to be a really good basketball team, and again, I don't think we'll be able to tell much real early because the opponents are not very strong, but this should be fun to watch. I think fans will enjoy getting to know some of these players. The ones I've met so far are all really good kids, very personable. The football team, they need to go out there and find a way to win. I think they're going to win by more than 4.5 points, but I think they're going to find a way to run the football again and try to dominate that game and maybe take a little pressure off Chandler Morris this week.
I hope so. Jerry Ratcliffe, the Virginia
How
Sports.
about that Virginia golf team, #1 in the country?
Unbelievable. The Virginia golf team is unbelievable. See them a lot over at Birdwood. These boys are professional golf players that are gracing us with their game and their presence in Charlottesville. They have pros everywhere there.
Yeah.
And he has routinely done that, which is great to see. I know it's the talk and the toast over at Birdwood. Jerry Ratcliffe, guys, Virginia Sports Hall of Famer, the namesake of JerryRatcliffe.com. He is going right now to the Tony Elliott press conference. The press conference coverage on JerryRatcliffe.com. It's the website you check first for Virginia sports, JerryRatcliffe.com. Judah Wickower behind the camera. My name is Jerry Miller. This is the Jerry and Jerry Show. The I Love CVille show is up at 12:30. Thank you for joining us. So long, everybody. Nicely done, Hoodie.
Thank you, sir. Same to you. Again, it goes by so fast.